Shalom Aleichem, and welcome to session number 7 of Intimate with the Infinite of Kotel Experiences. Being that I'm here over 36 years, obviously, and I'm usually at the Kotel for hours, so lots of interesting things happen. One of the things that stands out in my mind, on Monday, when there's bar mitzvahs going on, a 6'2" Aryan-looking gentleman, very distinguished, was being guided by an Israeli tour guide. And he had this glowing look on his face as if his child was being bar mitzvahed. He was full of nachas. But I couldn't help noticing this, and at the same time, I didn't want to take a chance of letting him pass by. Maybe I can get him to put on tefillin. So I decided to ask him in a politically correct way, and I said to him, "And what tribe are you from, sir?" And he smiled with such a broad smile. He says, "No, I'm not Jewish, but I so much love all things Jewish. I'm always attracted to Jewish things, Jewish food. All my friends are Jewish. This is my 15th trip to Israel in 3 years." And so I said, "Well, where were you from originally?" He says, well, I came into this world under very unusual circumstances. I was born in Germany." He says, "Oh, okay." He says, "Well, the way I was born was that during World War II, Mengele, Yimach Shmo, may his name be erased from history, was experimenting with fertilizing Jewish women with Aryan sperm. My mother, may her soul rest in peace, was chosen for this experiment. When she gave birth to me, they killed her, and they let me into an orphanage. And after the war was over and the Americans came in, they somehow took a lot of people from Germany who survived to America. And I was transplanted into Texas as a German. And this feeling for closeness to the Jewish people has always been part of me, and I couldn't really explain it. And I was almost crying. I noticed the tour guide, the Israeli tour guide, who usually are hard as nails, he was crying. And I turned to the man and I said, "I have a surprise for you. Welcome to the club. You're one of us." In Judaism, it's the mother that decides the religion, as we see that Sarah gave birth to Isaac, and the religion goes after Sarah and Isaac, and from that point on, all the other children of Abraham are not Jewish. So don't feel, I want to just introduce you to lightly, you are a full-fledged 100% Jew, and everything that you've been feeling has been coming from your neshama, or your soul, and you have the right to partake of any of the Jewish activities or rituals or holidays as much as any other rabbi can. So he said to me, he looked at my tefillin that were laying on the table. He says, "You mean I could put on one of those?" I said, "Are you a righty or a lefty?" And he said he was a righty. I said, "Could you please roll up your left sleeve and give God a hand?" He said, "I'd be more than glad to." And at this point, the Israeli tour guide, which I'm very sensitive to, they try to be very parv, not politically correct, not push anybody, and he was sobbing. And generally, if the guy is Jewish, the Israeli tour guide doesn't encourage the Jewish person to put on tefillin or discourage. In this case, after the gentleman whose name was Wayne finished putting on tefillin, the Israeli tour guide said, "Is it okay if I put on some too?" I said, "Join the club. You're a registered member." And that's the last I saw of this young man. He was a man in his 60s. But the experience of watching his metamorphosis, of the awareness and I said to him at the end, I said, "You know what? You're more a Jew than me. You came into this world by God's will. And it's of course it's strange, and your mother's soul should rest in peace. But at the same time, you should realize that you were chosen to survive." Thank you, and have wonderful experiences.